Welcome traders, welcome back to this another live session that we have started for today as the first day of trading week. To update some of the levels here. So I hope that you guys ready for another big trading days and weeks. Now looking at so far some incredible trading opportunity coming later today. I hope that live stream is on. Welcome traders, welcome back to this live session here, and we are progressing towards another trading week and starting this first session for this day here on. If we look at the current market, all right, so first looking at some so we'll begin with some news announcements so that we have understanding of which way the market is heading. Okay, gold hit record high after Trump's Greenland tariff threats. Okay, so some of the high impact news that in fact driving the gold price upside here, and along with gold, welcome. Okay, so looking at calendar to see that today there isn't later today coming on, there's a news on CAD, and tomorrow will be on some other instrument that you can see in the market. So with the first session of the week, we had an earlier significant trade, and I would like to look for another entry. Ready for an entry? Say yes if you're ready. Now, before we enter, we would like to do a full multiple time frame analysis. And for those who are really want to know the market direction before we enter, I'm going to do it for you guys and also for myself as well. We're trading together every single day in this live session. So I would like a favor. If you smash the like button, it will be helpful to see that more algorithmic favor for the stream. Awesome. So let's first of all, and I'm looking at gold and looking at the daily chart. Now, daily chart, we will be doing a complete multiple time frame analysis, because this is where we will be able to see that how the market is eventually evolving here over the long term. Okay, so looking at here on the daily chart, looking at the daily chart, the overall trend, right? And I have already posted quite a few analysis, and also we are looking at this market overall, and also letting you know I will be also looking at potential entry on British pound US dollar, and today's focus on XAUUSD and British pound US dollar. So both of these will be looking at if there is anything, and you can write in the chat if you want me to look for any other instrument that you're trading. We can look at in the in between to assist you in your analysis, or you can if you are looking at any specific time frame on gold, also you can write in the live chat. You can look at that one as well here. So beginning with first of all gold daily chart. Now today is the first day of trading week, so daily time frame is quite significant. If you look at the daily support here, there's a daily gap open. That was a massive gap that if you look at here on the daily, and with this massive gap open, the market had a significant breakout here that you can see in this market. So with that daily move back to the upside here on gold, which is showing that from this daily support level, potential for trend continuation back to the upside. Now, how does the market, if you look at our previous analysis, today's analysis, most of them worked out almost exactly as we expected, and as also we traded earlier in the London session opening. Now I love trading on opening. Okay, now I love to share my strategies to the members. If you guys looked at some of the trade also in the free Telegram, I have posted this is the alert that I have posted in the free Telegram. Okay, to join the free Telegram, also in detail analysis and the trade alert sent out in both free Telegram as well as the premium Telegram to give you a full understanding about the market update. Now, so what drive me to take the trade, right? So if you looked at this is what I have sent out straight in the free Telegram. If you join the free Telegram, you can go back to the trade, because I'm more often encouraged to go back to the past trade, that means recent past, not 1 week or because the market has changed, but just this London session. Okay, what made me to take this trade? I trade on the lower time frame because it's faster. I don't like to hold a trade for a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Rather, I love to take profit in few minutes, in 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's better because it's really emotionally difficult to hold a trade for a very long period of time. By the way, it's okay if you are a swing trader, if you like to trade longer term, that works, that's completely fine. When I begin my trading, I started as a swing trader, and it worked, but what happened is that over time I became more and more experienced, and I see that more opportunity on the lower time frame than higher time frame. So why should I spend a lot of time for the same results or even better results if I get on the lower time frame? So looking at this, is exactly the same trade alert was sent out. By the way, before I forget, guys, sometime in this live session I forget a lot of things, so I'm sharing this Telegram link in the live chat, so you can stay connected by joining there. Okay, so I've shared the link. Straight you can click and link. It's our official free Telegram where I do share some of the trade alert directly saying buy or sell, while in the premium group also I'm sharing exact entry, stop loss and take profit, and also we'll be discussing how you can also access all of that. Everything is for the members and to help the community. So now before we go to that trade that I have opened and shared in the group, also I have shared also the profit screenshot of the trade. So exactly, I take normally comparatively smaller lot. Okay, that's risk management. Comparatively smaller lot in this system. I have few strategies. Okay, some of the strategies that I had, and I trade sometime bigger lot, but this strategy, especially the London session breakout, I use a smaller lot. And of course, not by, if you look at two trades that I open, I don't open trade by fixed lot. Smaller lot means that is smaller risk on the trade. I had some strategies that I take sometimes bigger risk. That's a different strategy, but the one that I trade during the London session breakout, I take smaller risk because this is where I want to win little higher profit target. So that's where, if you look at in that area where the market from the lower time frame, how the market has broken out of the structure, we'll be discussing on that. At the moment, if you look at this daily market structure here, that you can see from this daily support level, so far with market open, there is a stronger breakout here. Now with that breakout, so far with market open here, there is a move back to the upside here in that market. So dropping down to the intraday from the 4-hour chart here, that you can see in this market, this is the intraday 4-hour time frame, where if you look at, this is the triangular pattern that has formed on XAUUSD. Okay, so this is where, and in that triangular pattern, okay, so this is also a consolidation pattern that you can see from here. Okay, so it's a narrower one candle range. The market has penetrated down to one single point, which is, if you look at that's where, this is the last Friday's candle on gold that you can see. And last Friday, that candlestick pattern has formed on XAUUSD. And after formation of this 4-hour candle on this lower time frame, we saw this is the, let me bring that up here for the market open. If you look at, here is the long wick candlestick pattern. Now this red candle that you can see, which is had a significantly longer wick, look at, okay, so that's a pretty big long wick candlestick pattern that has formed in that area on this intraday time frame. And this is, if you look at the weekly forex forecast and also the previous analysis, this is what we're discussing. So where are you looking gold ahead today? What will buyers entry level today? Welcome. So looking at here on gold, this is what we're discussing, and also I'm doing some multiple time frame analysis to understand that overall where we could see the market is going to be heading. So with this long wick, if you look at, this is a pretty big long wick candlestick pattern here on gold, and last session on Friday from this narrower smaller green candle. From here we have seen the market had a stronger breakout today, and this is what exactly expected and predicted during the weekly forex forecast, that the market to eventually breaks out of this structure. And we can see the market has broken out of that structure here. So if you look at this lower time frame, this was the Friday's closing move, and later what we have seen that, okay, so that was a significantly large gap open here. Okay, so if you look at the MT4, MT5, you can see that gap here, and with this gap open, all right, so that's a significantly large gap that you can see in that area that the market has created. Now with this gap open, there is, in fact, now I'm going to look at the lower time frame here. Let's close that replay option here. So that's the zone that you can see. All right, so this is a gap, and since the market opened with a gap, it is in a sideways. Okay, so it's in a accumulation phase. Now with this phase here that you can see with a massive breakout in that area here on gold. So this is a now currently if we look at the 50 minutes and the lower time frame, which is purely a bullish fair value gap, right? So we can see that one here. This is a bullish fair value gap, and with that bullish fair value gap, there is a sideways market movement that you can see in this area. And also the market moving in a one single range. Okay, so this is a one candle range moving in that area. So a pretty big fair value gap that you can see, and the market is on a sideways movement currently with a support creation here. Now we drop to significantly lower time frame here for an entry now at the moment. So we have found that from the long-term picture, from the bigger picture perspective here, the market has shown that there is a bullish confluence here, and we have seen there is a, if you look at it, it is a false breakout in that area. And with this false breakout, okay, so if you look at this is a false breakout, and with that false breakout there is an significantly breakout here, and where fair value gap, the market entirely broken out of the structure. Now in a consolidation. So you guys, I hope that you are understanding now how we are analyzing the market for a potential move again back in that area. So because there is a here in that area fair value gap and false breakout below of this structure, stronger liquidity sweep, the market has entirely broken back to the upside here, now approaching this key support level. The current level of support is here. Okay, so the potential for this market to buy is of this support level here in that area. Therefore we want to see that a straight drop back down here to this key support level for an entry in this market. I'm looking at a potential entry for the market to drop down back below and then to give us an entry opportunity on a retest of that area. So at the moment, if you look at here, the current support is here, and would like to see the market retesting this current support level, breaking that low and then breaking above here to create a new higher high in this market. We are looking at the entry on a retest of this key support level or potentially a false breakout, and then to revert back again to the upside here to create a new higher high. That's a simplest way to look at the market, to trade the market, to create a new trading opportunity in that area. We can see that there is a break of support and the market is slowly trying to move up that level here, that you can see in that area where there is a high area of value. Hello trader, welcome. After break of this, the market again trying to push back to the upside here, but I would like to, we want to see that the market has tested the lower support level. However, if we see that there is a stronger bullish confluence, we can enter at any point in time in that movement here in this market. All right, so here is the market has tested the upper shadow of that level, and the market slowly now creating the structure here to drop down back below, potentially to create a new lower low. Ready for an entry. This is a little slower movement that we can see here in that market, and with this slower movement there is a liquidity sweep here that we can see, and with this liquidity sweep the market is having that upside bias. There is an, if you look at here, an inverted head and shoulder potentially creating, but I think if you look at here there is a false breakout, therefore there could be an upside bias here. But with that upside bias, the market may eventually could come back below or could go back up again to create a new higher high in this market. Slow down the music a little bit. Now, looking at the support level, guys, this is simple strategies, simple rules. We are looking at entry on the support level, the same system that we traded in our London session opening entry. Now, session open is a really great way to trade the market. If you look at during the session open, I do open quite a few trades, and if you look at here, during the session open is always fun to trade, especially there is a volume comes with the session open. And because there's a volume coming with the session open, there is always higher liquidity. Okay. Now, at the moment, if you look at the market here, we are progressing towards the NY open, right? We are on London session now. With the NY session opening, we will be looking at better trading opportunity in this upcoming session. Now, here there is a false breakout and the market trying to break that low below to the support level. And that's what I'm looking at, guys, that to see the market is eventually dropping down here to the key intraday support level. Okay, so we can see after this break below, there is a potential for breaking to this key support level. We are waiting for the market to drop down here back below to this key support area, and from that support we want to see the market is going back to the upside, potentially to create a new higher high. And this is a lower time frame bearish price action, but the overall trend is, you know, that it's bullish. So you want to see the market is testing an important key support level before we look for any entry in this market. Here is a head and shoulder that you can see it formed. Okay, so with this head and shoulder, it's a pretty big head and shoulder that you can see. And with that head and shoulder, there is a potential for a downside here. We could look for short-term sell. But here I'm looking at, guys, is in this market, so if we look at here, okay, so there is some kind of rejection that you can see in this market. So this is what you're looking at here for a potential rejection back below. And the market has created quite a few series of lower high. If you look at respecting this trend line, creating a series of lower high and lower low, which is in a downtrend. The market may eventually break that low here to create a lower low in that market. So we are looking at here to give us potential selling opportunity in this market. We will be buying from the support. However, as I mentioned, it's a long-term bull market, but we see that there is a short-term selling opportunity. If it arises with a multiple false breakout, we will be looking to enter. But at the moment, I'm looking at this current support level here for a potential buying opportunity. So we are trading on lower time frame. Depending on the market structure, we will be looking at entry. What's your bias on XAUUSD today, guys? You can share your bias and thought. What do you think? Which way the market is heading? I'm posting as a poll. Poll really helps. I was really surprised with some of the polls that we have done. If you look back some of our live session, you'll see that the poll came out almost over 90% of the time correct. So whenever most traders said the market will go up, it goes up. It's interesting, really. So I would like to do the same thing. Would like to post a poll here to see that for short term, what do you think? So it's a short term, not long term. Short term, do you think that XAUUSD breaking below and continue to trend down, or we could see that the market will have a stronger rejection back to the upside? So what's your bias on short term on gold? So I posted the bull and bearish, so you can share, cast a vote to see that what do you think. And here the market is now potentially to drive back below. TP 4650 thought. Sell, hope that breaks the structure. There might be some short-term drop here. Okay, there is a possible for the market to drop down here potentially to come back here below this previous support. The market has tested the 20 EMA just now after this massive breakout, so there might be some rejection. So market a crucial level, but we can see that there is some kind of consolidation. But if you look at the 30 minutes, you can see, let me delete this level here, and the market is approaching this key support level. Now coming to 465,354 level, we can look for potential short-term upside bias here. There is a possibility because the market left an imbalance here in that area, so there might be some reaction or rejection here. As you see, this structure is a stronger liquidity gap here. Look at this, is in the one step, this is a liquidity gap, there is another step also liquidity gap. So back to back, two significantly important level that you can see the market has grabbed that liquidity here in that area. Getting some upside pullback here, and waiting for a clear move that you could see here in that area. Little louder music might makes it little interesting. Like to see the market is giving us an entry in a key level of support here. Alright guys, so you can see there is a pullback here now at the moment, and potentially to move up for another retest. And this is a, if you look at this is a narrow consolidation here that you can see in that area. And with this narrow consolidation, all right, where the market is in a narrow area, we'll be looking at this market to eventually break below here to create a new lower low in this market. Of this 20 EMA, the market is slowly breaking back to the upside here, where the price eventually could go ahead and create a new higher high, or we could see further downside here. As we discussed that we are looking at this market to buy, as it is a bull market, but you want to see that the bull market has dropped to key support level for an entry in this market. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the live session, make sure you don't miss out to subscribe to the channel. Press the notification bell so that you are not missing any of the content that I am posting every day. I do share many of the trade ideas. Today's trade that I have shared in the premium as well as in the Telegram group, where this is the buy alert that I have shared in the Telegram. Also the same trade shared in the premium with full exact entry, stop loss and take profit. And later I have given the full explanation of the trade. That's how learning, guys. That's how real learning. You're gonna trade, you're gonna learn the strategy, and you see that why you have opened the trade, the logic, entry logic, exit logic, and the risk management logic. That's how you can trade with informed strategy. That's how the best way to trade. Always keep your edge at the top. What is an edge? Also important, right? You need to learn that one here as well. So without edge, you can't trade properly. So what is an edge? You can join the Telegram that I have given the link, where I do share during the London Open and the NY Open. So NY Open I do here on live session on YouTube. London session I do trade on my desk, so you guys can get all the updates that I'm sharing. By the way, share your thought on what is an edge, right? You know that if you take a sword, right? Have you seen the old times that sword, like the kings, the knights used? But what is an edge in trading? Do you have an idea about the edge in trading? By understanding an edge will give you much better understanding of the trading and how trading works, how to develop also a strategy that always have an edge that you can use. Now, an edge, more often we think that an edge is where you need to look for a pin bar or a bullish engulfer, bearish engulfer, or use moving averages. Okay, that not always an edge. More often that indicator, price action, edge is what I would say that the time dependency. I have already shared some of the shorts also in the group. The time dependency is much more convenient or high probability in terms of finding an edge than the price action. Price action is absolutely needed. Okay, the time dependency, when you combine it with the whole strategy, that's why our strategy you guys looked at that so effective, is because of we use the time dependency. Okay, so if you look at let's say this is the Asian Open, the market has gone back somewhere here, all right, and then the market has come back to here on the London session open, and now this is one situation. Similar way, let's say another situation where London session open here, the market has gone up, and after 1 hour of London session open, the market has come here. Okay, so see that two scenario. One is here is London open, London session open, or NY open, that's the same thing. Okay, here is London session open, but here is nothing. Let's say here is just that, imagine that, let's say it's Tokyo session closed. Okay, now in these two scenario, if you guys look at, well done, that's a good point. Edge is when you have this same pattern, gives you more percentage to win. Yeah, that's you can define in many ways. So there are two things. One is the word, the other one is the image. Okay, so image, they're saying that an image can tell, an image is sometimes more than 1,000 words, right? So that's why I'm expressing with the image so that you guys can understand it. So if you look at here, okay, that at some point the market opened here, gone back up, has come back down to a pullback. This is the London session open, and this is another scenario where the market opened probably in the middle of Asian session, the market has gone up. Here is Tokyo session closed. In these two scenario, if everything same, for example, all the price action candlestick pattern exactly arranged in the same way, it's imaginary, but it's impossible to happen, but let's say that it happened. Okay, like this. Like this, exactly the same. Now for the next move here to happen, to go up here and to go up here, that's why sometime the time dependency cannot be back tested. Okay, so for this market to go up, if we consider, I would say that this is 65% probability or even more to go up, while it can be even the 50% probability to go up. Everything same, price action same, condition same, everything same, but because of the timing, because timing will tell you, if you ever have driven your car or took your bike somewhere at work, okay, if you look at in a peak hour where there is all the workplaces started to open or close, the road will be massively busy, right? So with the same thing, everything same, but because of the timing, things are busy. So you know that next day, before you even going out of the house, you know that what time you are going and what you can expect in the street. Same thing here. That is where the edge is, and that is where it's an additional advantage, okay, that less experienced trader will not have that edge. So that's where you can take this edge for your additional advantage, because especially beginner, intermediate, even the advanced trader don't pay attention to that. They just look at the price section, look at the candlestick indicator, support, resistance, everything that you can see, technical or even the fundamental. This is not even a fundamental, right? This is time dependency. What time? Okay, it's not even a fundamental. So you see that everything discussed, but this is not discussed. This is something that comes with experience and observation. And keep in mind that observation knowledge is the most effective knowledge, because everything in fact is, if you look at the observation, there are two kinds of knowledge that you can gain. One is the true knowledge comes from experience, observation, okay, and what else? The textbook knowledge that you can see is actually not the original knowledge that you can find, because if you look at the textbook has a lot of round, right? Volume 1, volume 2, version 3, version 4, probably 1000 version has gone passed away. Another important thing is that if you look at the textbook, usually books is written through the lens of the writer, right? Books is written through the lens of the writer, keep in mind. So therefore, if we look at here, this is where the market has tested the support, and now we can see the market has bounced off that level. Now let's look at here what you can expect in that area. Double bottom breakout. Now we're looking at here for the deeper pullback. We see there is a breakout and bounce off the level after the retest. Welcome traders, I hope that you're enjoying. Good day. Okay. All right, so you can see eventually there is a move back to the upside here. The market has eventually broken above, and so at the moment we can see the market has broken out of this channel, right, which has created this now a breakout to the upside in that area. Now with that breakout from this channel, the market has maintained this uptrending market structure, and we can see the price is eventually showing up to be, this is where there's a breakout. And at the moment for an entry, because it's a bull market, as you know that it's an uptrending market, we are looking at now for a retest of it's already has broken out of the channel. Because it has broken out of the channel, we will be looking at now deeper pullback in this market for an entry back to the support level. Good there. So still valid to sell short term? No. If we, as I mentioned, I was waiting for the market to test this support, but we have seen the market tested this support and bounce off that level. It has broken out of the channel. It's not valid for selling, neither is still for buying, because the buying will come once the market has done the pullback. So if you look at from here, that you can see this is a one single move back to the upside here in that market. So because it has made this one single move back to the upside, we want to see that it has done enough pullback before we look for an entry to the upside here in this market. Market became a little slower. That's where it's potentially creating momentum, okay, for another possible move in the market. So it's, if you look at here, is there is a 10 and 20 MA crossover just now on the 1 and the 5 minute chart. If you look at the 1 minute, here is a complete breakout here. Now we'll see that in 30 minutes time there is a session open coming, right? So with that session open, let's look at here, let's delete those sessions. Okay, so with a lower time frame, after forming double bottom here, there is a breakout, and today's high, if we look at daily high, that I would like to also draw the level for the daily high here. It's here, and from this retest of this 20 MA, there's significant buying pressure that you can see on this market. So it already has moved back to the upside. Now we want to see that deeper pullback for us to be able to look for buying. So for the upcoming NY session, we might see here potentially upside. So at the moment where the market is, we are looking at here for this price to eventually come down for retest for upside again. So it's showing that there is a potential for bullish move back to the upside. Best way to wait for the patience is key. It's here also you'll be guys learning the patience as a trader. Welcome. Okay, so as we have, I think 30 minutes. Let me double check. I do forget sometime the session's timing. It's something pretty weird. Sitting here is 7:30 a.m. So therefore we have 30 minutes for the sessions to open. So as you can see, the market is here creating its momentum back to the upside, and we can expect that the price to come down for a deeper pullback, and that's why we're looking at that support level. So this is support level, and we could see that so far in this area the market is still bullish, and we're looking at for deeper pullback here, and that's where we want to see the potential bounce of this level back to the upside here in that market. Welcome traders. Technical analysis concept. Yeah, you can analyze in many ways. So as long as it's understandable to you, because let's say you want to measure a room, okay, from length this side to this side. Now if you bring a person who, let's say, doesn't know English, for example, and your tape measure is in English, right? So no matter how many times you teach that person how to measure it using a tape measure, he will not be able to understand, because he doesn't know 10 meter or 5 meter, what does it mean. But you can teach him by just using your hand, right? How many hands from this side to this side. So all are correct, right? You can use, if you take a measurement using the 10 meter or probably 20 hands, and both are correct, but the method is different. So as long as it's understandable. So technical analysis is all about your understanding of the potential, the levels that you want to buy or sell, because the purpose of the analysis is to look for an area of value, to find a supply and demand where you can look at to buy or sell, right? Where others will be interested to buy and sell. So one of the simplest way to know, to analyze or to find an area of value is to look at the past. Okay, so if you look, because you can't see what's coming next, but you can analyze the past, because past echoes more often the future. If you look at, you know, that human brain, because it's a product of our thinking, right? Thinking, analyzing. And if you look at the science of human brain also, 90% of human thinking are repetitive, right? So that means what a person thought yesterday, 9 out of thinking will come back today the same. And interestingly, according to science, a human being thinks 60 to 70,000 thoughts in a day. Can you imagine that? How many you can remember? But it's all happens, you know, that on an mostly unconscious or subconscious level. But when you look at those, thinking are repetitive. Okay, so what you thought, and that's why you'll see that this is also human lives are repetitive. But if you change those areas, that automatically will start to change the external areas. That takes a little time, but it's the way it is. You can change by, when you change your what you are thinking, also you change your brain, you change the neuro connection on your brain that goes through, because every thought we think, it also follow a pattern in the brain. So if you look at that, because these are the big part of trading psychology, you can use it in trading, is the part of that one here. So anything you will do, think, act, imagine, everything, there will have a neuro connection. So those neuro connection you can consider as an energetic channel in your brain, because brain produces energy to do the job, right? So, and there are, the more you rehearsed in the past, the stronger the connection in between those neuro connection that you will find. And that's where you'll see that sometime creating a new habit, creating a better trading habit is sometimes very uncomfortable, is because to break those connection, to create a new connection, you need to break the old connection. And to do that, you need more energy. You need to pay attention, because attention is energy. So you need to pay more attention, and that, because whatever we have done, it became automatic, and it's a connection, and the energy always follow the path of least resistance. So because those neuro connection has an energetic pathway, it automatically follows that least resistance, because the job of the brain is not to keep you safe or keep you unsafe, but to save energy. So the one that has done in the past is familiar, it's easy to follow, and the path will follow the same channel all the time, because it's the path of least resistance. And it's like an inertia. Imagine that a car is sitting down, but if you push few times with a little extra energy, once you start to run, you even don't need to push anything, it becomes in autopilot. So the similar way, once you create that trading habit that you need to do in first few days, it becomes some work, and then it becomes much easier. So that way you can enhance your trading ability, your trading psychology, by looking at the past. So if you look at the market here, in the same way, so where the buyers who are interested to buy in the past will be also potentially be interested to buy in the future. Just you need to what I would say, that twist a little bit, because smart money will go little deeper. So you need to wait for that false breakout to happen, like this one here. So every area you'll see that there will be a move, but just a little bit deepen, is because of the liquidity gap. Usually where you feel like putting your stop loss is where your entry. That's how it can easily you can understand it. All right, so let's look at now here in that market how, if you look at here, you can see this is a creating an uptrending market structure where the market is creating series of higher high and higher low. So there is a drop here, back below. All right, so now coming up in few minutes there is a session open, and where with the upcoming session open, it's a little bit slower movement that you can see there is a here in that area liquidity sweep. Okay, so little slower price action that you can see in this area, and with this slower price action the market is slowly building its momentum potentially back above here. And with that being said, here looking at, as there is a doji, the market is in a very narrow area here at the moment. There's a little bit of slower movement that you can see here in that area. And we want to see the market is expanding from that level for us to be able to enter a trade. Why didn't gold come to fill the gap? It's not over, it's just started, right? It's just the beginning yet. So it's gonna come. It's on a pullback because the market left quite a few gaps along the way, right? So which is basically it's leaving an imbalance. That's how the market moves. The market moves from imbalance to the imbalance. So what might happen is that where it is, if you look at not only here but also there, the market left quite a few gap. Okay, so this is also a gap it left, right? See this weekly candle is a gap here in that area, and if you will find a lot of gaps along the, if you look at the weekly, you can see those gaps. So let me tell you what might happen with those gaps, how the market might do is that, you see this is the current weekly gap, the previous weekly gap, and also there's a gap here. So, and also there's a gap here. Once this is a kind of, I'm deleting all of that for a fresh perspective. So market is like a bubble, okay? Every market acts like a bubble, okay? So it's gonna blow, like it's gonna swell. And at some point, you're gonna see that one candle will drop like that, okay, and that will fill all those gaps, okay, and that 1 week will be like this, okay. If we look at the weekly, in fact it might be monthly, and then 2-3 weeks you'll see the market will, the market will get a shock with this such a big move, will move in a sideways, and then slowly will create another move back to the upside again. That's how, this is the natural cycle of the market. So now the price will move like that, keep until it finds, so like at some point there will be a rejection of those levels, okay. So far we can see the market is showing that bullish move, but when the market eventually will break down at some point, the market will never move in one direction, of course. This might be in 1 or 2 days like that, you could see that entirely broken back below, and that trend might be, if you look at here, you can see quite a few smaller move and sideways move. But when the market eventually drop, if you look at here, you can see some of the drop here, like that big drop, entirely come back. But at the moment, this is currently in a stronger momentum. Okay, so there is still possibility for this market to continue to rise until it entirely breaks down. There's still sign of further bullish trend in this market. We'll see that where it is heading. So the gap, as we mentioned, at some point it's gonna come to fill that gap. So also you can look at the 1 minute price action to see that actually how the market can behave on the higher time frame as well. You see that this is, if you look at, this is a weekly price action, the same thing happened, and this is the 1 minute chart. But you see when the market trended like that, when the market has broken off that trend like this, now that's how it does. Now usually there moves from order block to the order block. Okay, so for example, when the market will break down, if you look at the weekly, it's gonna potentially come back to the nearest order block. So it could come back here to break this low, or coming back exactly to that level. Okay, these are two order block. It might fill. So if you look at the daily here, daily order block is here. So yeah, there might be the previous break is here. Usually when the market breaks from the structure, it cross the previous breakup structure, or test the previous breakup structure and then return again. So what do we mean by this? Let's say the market is trending, creating series of higher high, there is a breakup structure and then start to move again. So once the market breaks again, it usually tests the previous breakup structure, cross that one, and then go back again in the major direction of the trend. So this is the previous breakup structure. After that, there's one here, there's one here, and if the market breaks, usually like that. Now at the moment we are still seeing that bullish trend, and we are looking at that entry opportunity as we trade on very lower time frames. So we are looking at always the downtrending market structure here in this market. So there is a retest, and we might be able to find an entry after the candle close, 1 hour candle closing with a bullish price action here in that area. And okay, so here it's creating quite a few long wick candlestick pattern I'm looking at for a potential entry in this area. What are your thoughts on ICT trading strategy? Both strategy works. Okay, so if you look at SMC or ICT, both of them works well. It depends on your which one you are mostly focusing on. Okay, I more often look at SMC because this is where higher liquidity comes in play in the market. Okay, the market moves based on volume. Okay, so when there is a big volume, the market will move, and that's why I more pay attention on the smart money with a breakup structure. Whenever the market is showing, look for an entry. Okay, so here is, if you look at, this is a head and shoulder pattern here, and but at the same time the longer term trend is bullish. We might see what I think now, potentially deeper pullback here. As I mentioned earlier, that there is, after this break, the market is having a reaction back below here for another potential entry down. The market is now, if you look at the lower time frame here, this is 5-minute chart. There is a retest of this 20 EMA. The price is slowly breaking back to the upside here in that market. So with that zone here, with a multiple liquidity sweep, the market may eventually break that high to create a higher high, or we could see the downtrend here. As there is a session open, this is the 15 minutes price action. This 15 minutes price action is crucial, as this price action will determine either this market will go up further or breaking below again. You can see that with this double top, the price slowly breaking that low here and can eventually come back further below. You see there is a multiple liquidity sweep here. What's your bias on this one? I think we might see some short-term rejection in this market, though there is a 10 EMA retest and the market is showing multiple retest of that level. Okay, so we are looking at an entry, and here is the market structure. Here multiple times created false breakout. Here is one, here is one, so another one here, and the current support level is 4668. So you can see this is the lower high. Breaking that low, just showing the market eventually could break that low here, and okay, after break of this high, it's still not directionally clear, but we might see that reaction of this level here on the lower time frame. Okay, now if the market breaks below and create a false breakout, we are looking for bullish entry here in that area. Short-term buys. I don't understand ICT as I think it's overcomplicated things. SMC is easier to understand, especially with experience over time. It gets, yeah, because with the SMC, you know, you don't have to think about, you know, that anything else. Just look at the chart and look for the breakout structure, right? And because eventually at the end of the day the market is highly influenced or the moved by smart money, right? And so when you are trading with SMC, you don't have to look at the daily open, daily close. Just look at the purely the trend and then breakout structure. But you can add ICT confluence, such as the wait for the daily low to be broken or the sessions low, and then combine it with the breakout structure. If you see that there is a SMC liquidity gap on a sessions low or sessions high in the direction of the trend, that's a very high probability setup. Okay, so we can integrate both of them, but primary focus that I pay on attention is on the SMC, so that you can look at or find the trade in the major direction. All right, so here is, if you look at for example, here you can see there is a breakout structure, but if this false breakout was little lower here, extended below, and then rejected back to the upside, I would look for long here in that market. This is a little, I'd say that very narrow consolidation here at the moment, if you look at. Okay, now that consolidation that you can see, it's a very narrow sideway market, and in that sideway market, so one to two candle range, you want to see that the market has entirely broken out of the range to give us an entry here in that market. So looking at, if you look at the 30 minutes price action here, it, after this previous doji, the market is forming another doji here, and it's also in a very narrow range that you can see in this area. Therefore, looking at potential entry here in that market. This is what we're looking at. Okay. Series of lower high, also quite a few long week, and you can see the market is maintaining that series of lower high and series of higher low, which is still not showing a clean directional bias yet, especially on the market moves in this consolidation here. It's pretty interestingly that the market is moving here. So with the multiple times the price was testing this level, that you can see it's showing up that this market may eventually break that to the upside here. So you can see there is a multiple liquidity gap, multiple times the price is rejecting off that level, which is showing that the market may go back to the upside, which is a long-term direction of the trend here in this market. So here guys, we can see there is a multiple times the market has formed double bottom and waiting to see that there is a potential for bounce back to the upside here. And as the market has tested the lower shadow, we could see that this price to go ahead and potentially to create a new higher high. Don't you think the market is going back up for another bounce, or you could see the price to break that low here? This is a little still not giving a clear directional bias here in that market. So really, if the market is pretty nasty choppy, that I would say at the moment, someday like that, it's the first day of trading week. We will have in three, there's a cat news coming. Let's see that what's happening with the dollar CAD. I'm really not getting enough entry on gold yet. With the dollar CAD, okay. Dollar CAD has, if you look at, there's a gap open, and daily market structure on dollar CAD is today's price after this last day of trading week. So there was a bullish move. Today has a downward movement, and if you look at the 4 hour here on dollar CAD, also showing that downside here. So this lower time frame here that you can see on dollar CAD showing bearish in few minutes coming. 3 important news on CAD. How does that impact dollar CAD? Can you look at Nikkei 225? I'm thinking it's going to what we are looking at here. Okay, looks like that it's gonna, there's a gap open, still showing that upside here. Okay, looking from here potentially to bounce off that level. Okay, we could see that eventually here there's a gap open, the market is showing potentially back to the upside here. Going back to the gold here to see, it's showing here very narrow consolidation. Going back to dollar CAD, as there's news coming on dollar CAD. So there is a downside here on dollar CAD. So there is a significant bearish drop that you can see on dollar CAD, and may eventually bring that market back below here. So with the data, pretty stronger move on dollar CAD. That also has significantly impacted the XAUUSD price. So dollar CAD has tested the lower part and then rejected back above here. And so it might now potentially move up for a pullback. So if the dollar CAD moving up, but DXY we can see that it's still maintaining here some downtrending move, which is what I think that potentially a pullback. So that's where gold is still maintaining that uptrending market structure here. So a little bit of mixed movement in the market, yet that you can see. Okay, so here is a series of higher low, little mixed movement, and from here, okay, from triple bottom there is a rejection back to the upside here. But there is an eventual breakout that you can see here in that market. So with a big doji, the market has broken back below here and creating quite a few long week price action here in that area. The market is entirely consolidating here in that area. So, and Okay, so we can see that there is a, after false breakout, the market again has got the rejection back below, so which is eventually showing that the market may again drop down here for another another retest. So this is currently a little sideways, so it's a good idea always to wait for this kind of market to rearrange itself for a new move. And by the way guys, we are looking at some entry, but today's market, let the market settle down, as there is quite a few high impact news coming later that will give us a new entry in the market. That being said, thanks for joining. I'm going to end this session today. We had a trade early during the London session, and I'm looking at for later entry in this live session. We looked at for an entry, but at the moment the market is still in a sideways. We'll be waiting for a breakout, and I'm going to also post an update later in the Telegram channel and also in the channel, so you guys can stay up to date by joining that, where also I do share many of the trade ideas that I'm posting every single day. That being said, thanks for joining here, and I'll see you again very soon trading live in our next session. Until that, stay well, stay happy.